I'm back with another album review. Today's review is on Ricochet by Rise Against. This is the 10th and most recent studio album from these guys. After the success of Nowhere Generation, they decided to work with an entirely new team for this album. It was produced and engineered by Catherine Marks. The mixing was done by Alan Mulder, who has decades of experience working in the music industry. The album was mastered by Matt Colton. It was released on August 15th, 2025 on Loma Vista Recordings. So the album is still pretty fresh as of the making of this video. Tim McGilrath said in a press statement that the album is about the band's interconnectedness, essentially being a departure from the band's political work. Now let's talk about the songs. The intro to this album is Nod, which was released as a single on January 24th, 2025. When this track was released, I thought it sounded amazing and was hyped for what was in store for the band's new album. This track was also mixed by Finn Howells. A music video was made. There's a link in the description. Unfortunately, it's all downhill from here. The next track is I Want It All, which was released as a single on May 28th, 2025. Catherine Marks is actually on the synthesizer for this track, and this is the band's first song to feature a synth. A music video was made, and I'm including a link in the description. After that is Ricochet, and this is the title track in case it wasn't obvious enough. This track received a music video. There's a link in the description. Next up is Damage Is Done. Kinda ironic because this album is subpar compared to the band's other work. Up next is Us Against the World. It turns out I'm not the only person who was disappointed by this album. That's followed by Black Crown. Andy Hull helped Tim to write the lyrics, and he provided additional vocals. We followed up with Sink Like a Stone. The song doesn't sound anything like the band's signature sound. Right after that is 40 Days. It hasn't even been 40 days since this album was released. I can't help but find it to be the band's weakest album. The track after that is State of Emergency. The real emergency is that this album doesn't live up to the standards of this band. What comes next is Gold Long Gone. This album is anything but gold. Hell, it isn't even bronze. The second to last track is Soldier. You'd think a song with a title like that would be good, but it's not. The outro for this album is Prize Fighter, which was released as a single on April 3rd, 2025. This is the second and final track to have Catherine on the synth. What's ironic is that Bush made a song called Prize Fighter back in '99, and their song is superior to this one. The song did receive a music video, and there's a link in the description. I need to mention that the Amazon version includes 2 bonus tracks. The first one is a live version of Nod. Unfortunately, it falls flat and doesn't sound anywhere near as good as the studio version. The second bonus track is a live version of Prayer of the Refugee. That was the first Rise Against song I ever listened to. Sadly, this live track also falls flat. You can see that my copy is the Amazon version. When researching this album, I read that it was number 19 on the US top album sales. The highest it charted was number 4 on the UK rock and metal albums, and the German rock and metal albums. From what I've seen is that this album has gotten mixed reception from users on Discogs, and I don't blame them. Now for my thoughts. I had really high hopes for this album, but it doesn't live up to the standards for this band, and Rise Against was my favorite band in high school. I don't mind these guys working with a new team for the album. My main problem is with how it sounds. Even the live tracks are lackluster. These guys are known for making political music, and they always knock it out of the park when doing that. They should go back to that. Hell, they could make another anti-Trump album like they did back in 2017. That album was absolutely fantastic given the fact they also worked with a different team when making Wolves. Maybe they'll go back to working with Jason Livermore and Bill Stevenson, given the fact that the albums they made that were produced by those guys were absolute bangers. Overall, I find this album to be a mixed bag, and I think it's the band's weakest album. That doesn't necessarily mean this is a bad album. It just didn't live up to the hype. Bush, Scars on Broadway, and Deftones understood the assignment to release banger albums in 2025. But why didn't Rise Against understand? It might have something to do with the fact that Catherine Marks has worked with artists I've never even heard of. Whatever the case, I can't help but be disappointed. And now it's the part where I question you. Have you listened to Ricochet? If so, what do you think about it? What's your favorite song from it? If you have this album, which version do you have? Do you think these guys will go back to making political music for their next album? Why do you think this album fell flat? Let me know in the comments. If you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to press the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll review something better next time.